frontage roads. It connects the trail system south of the lake with the DCTA trail system in the north with bike and pedestrian shared use facility. It adds additional free lane in each direction. I want to take a moment to acknowledge the long-term planning and vision of past and present Commissioners Courts with the passage of numerous bond packages and support from local, state, and federal elected officials. Hang on to my notes here. Denton County has had 4 successful bond programs in 1991, 1998, 2004, and 2008. Each were supported unanimously by courts at that time and overwhelmingly supported and approved by the voters. I want to recognize Jeff Mosley, former Denton County Judge Jeff Mosley, for the vision and political courage to put together the very first road bond package in 1991 to assist the state with on-system highways, and for establishing the I-35E Corridor Coalition in the early 1990s to focus on the improvements we are seeing being constructed today. At this time, I'd like to introduce U.S. Corps of Engineers Eric Pedersen to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Will you please stand?
Eric Pedersen is actually the former manager. I'm Rob Jordan with the Corps of Engineers, and I'm honored to be here on behalf of the Corps today. Please join me as we honor the flag with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Don't be seated. We need to do the Texas Pledge. Because only in Texas are you going to see a project like this, right? All right. Texas Pledge. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Now you may be seated. Okay. Are you up or am I?
Make sure her face isn't too dark.
Good morning again. What a blessed day. This is the day that the Lord has made, and we shall rejoice and all be glad in it. Why are we rejoicing today? It's because we can get out of this traffic jam. Finally. Thank you all for being here. I want to acknowledge all our dignitaries that are here this morning. I want to thank all of our partners that have made this project a reality. The opening of this bridge symbolizes more than a relief to the congestion motorists experience every day. It's a symbol of the enormous challenges that had to be overcome in order to make this project a reality. It required partnership at every level of government. It required funding from every level of government, and it required the different financial mechanism from county bonds to TIFA loans to the use of managed lane, each contributing to the success of this project. I want to thank again, like I said, our representatives that are here, our commissioners, especially our commissioners court that's here now, Commissioner Eads and Commissioner Coleman, Commissioner Marchand can be here. I want to thank Denton County voters and the Corps of Engineers, TxDOT, COG, Federal Highway, and especially the voters who approved numerous bond packages that funded the way for I-35. I also want to especially, since this is in Precinct 3, but make no mistake, every commissioner touches I-35. The bridge may be in Precinct 3, but Precinct 1, 2, and 4 also has a part of I-35, and they all work hard to make sure that we get this bridge completed. But I have Precinct 3 cities that's in attendance. I want to thank you all for y'all support, for all the Denton County's bond projects, TxDOT for your long-standing partnership, the legislators' action, Tan and Myra, for providing tools that have assisted in the I-35 projects, such as the design, build concept, managed lane concept, and more recent transportation funding through Prop 1 and 7. Now, if at this time, I want to introduce our former, the judge had already introduced him, Denton County Judge from 1993 to 1999, and recent Texas Transportation Commission member from 2012 to 2016, Judge Mosley.
Judge Horn, Commissioner Mitchell, and Commissioner Eads, Commissioner Coleman, what a delight to be here on this occasion, and to be in Precinct 3, Commissioner Mitchell, what a delight, and to be with my colleague, Commissioner Vandergriff, and Mr. Leader, Mr. Parker, and Representative Crownover. And I just wanted to say thank you so much for coming here today to be able to bring greetings and to talk a little bit about some of the history that went into the voters, as Commissioner Mitchell and Judge Horn have talked about, the voters that participated in this whole discussion. And if I may just invite us, in 1991, as I was coming into office, Bill Hale and I were talking about this, but there was a I-30 construction project, and that was the bridge over Ray Hubbard. And we'd turn our TV on at night and see the devastation to Rockwall County. Why? One way in and one way out of Rockwall. And in state government, we call this a BFO, a blinding flash of the obvious. And it was very apparent that we had a similar situation here with I-35. One way into our county seat, to the university, and one way out. And you can only pound concrete so long, and you've got to stop and reconstruct those bridges. And that's what was happening on Ray Hubbard. And so that initiated a discussion. What would it be like if the county would participate with the cities and with the state on mobility? And the county had never done that before. And there was some pushback. In fact, there was actually an attitude at the county, believe it or not, that if you don't build it, they won't come. It was an anti-growth attitude. But the census taking did not back that up. The census was showing us that that was an urban myth and that people were moving in here. And so the campaign that I ran was bad roads don't stop growth, bad roads stop jobs. And if we want our county residents to enjoy working and living right here in Denton County, we should be full partners with the city and with the state to talk about comprehensive mobility. And out of that came the 1991 bond package Commissioner Mitchell referred to. And we had wonderful citizens helping us, and I know you still use those, Commissioner Eads, and I know Judge Horn has leaned heavily. We had countywide volunteers, citizens that came together from all the precincts, and we looked at a strategic mobility plan, and that $35 million package, we just thought, this is so big and so huge, how could we possibly ever convince voters? But you know what? The Denton County voters said this is the right thing to do. And out of that package came some very wonderful projects. One of them was connecting 35 to the Dallas North Tollway, the bridge. It came out of that because we thought if we shut this corridor down for construction, we should at least have a back door. 2499 came out of that project, another back door in and out of our county. Guess what? Don't tell anybody, Judge Horn, but we spent money across the county line in Tarrant County because Tarrant County didn't see the value of that interchange of 2499. But Commissioner Vandergriff, I lost a lot of sleep over that, but we did the right thing, and the voters really appreciated that. And so these are initiatives. We began a fight with Colin to pull the Dallas North Tollway back along the county line. I congratulate Judge Horn and the commissioners for seeing through that vision, because we know the developable property along that corridor is significant. It helps every taxpayer in Denton County to have that toll road. So thank you so much for inviting me to come here just to share, because really the credit goes to this leadership, to Judge Horn, Commissioner Mitchell, Commissioner Eads, Commissioner Coleman, Commissioner Marchant. It's one thing, isn't it, to start an initiative. It's another thing to see it through to completion, to close it. And so I congratulate the leadership of Denton County. Commissioner Vandergriff, thank you for your leadership. I remember right after I came on the commission voting for funds on I-35, but you've got a great leader here. Commissioner Vandergriff's here to see that money all the way through and to make sure it's leveraged and maximized. We've got wonderful leaders in the House and the Senate, Senator Nelson. So I just am so pleased to be a small part of this story today. Thank you, Judge Warren, and thank you, Commissioner Mitchell, for letting me come and bring greetings. God bless you. Congratulations.
Judge Mosley. At this time, we didn't have a list of all the elected officials, and before I introduce the ones that's going to be speaking, can I have all my elected officials, especially because you all partnered in this road at some point, would you please stand and let us acknowledge you? I want to thank you all for being here. Thank you for your partnership. We certainly appreciate you. And at this time, we want to introduce one of our partners at the legislature, who's certainly no stranger to Denton County, who has worked tirelessly for us and continue to work for us. Let's all recognize Representative Myra Crowder.
Delighted to be here today. You know, I'm not running again, so this is kind of an era of memories for me. And one of the memories that I've laughed about many times right after I got elected, Congressman Burgess said, I'm going to the hearing on, it wasn't a hearing, it was a lynching, on 2499. Won't you come and sit with me? And so I thought, well, yes, this is an interesting thing. As a newly elected state representative, I'll go and stand by Congressman Burgess. So we drive up to the high school, and there are 300 angry people with red t-shirts that all say stop 2499. And it was, believe me, it is an evening I will never forget. And I know our good congressman won't forget either. There was nobody happy there. They were quite sure that we didn't need it and that it would ruin their community. How many of you have driven through 2499? It works. So today is really it's about vision. We can't stay stuck in the mud. But it's also about leadership. Today is a celebration of strong leaders that had the wisdom to work together, even though it wasn't easy. There were no easy answers. It was hard. But it is vision and leadership that we are celebrating here today. I especially want to thank Phil Wilson. When we were into this project, the state of Texas was putting some money in it, but not enough money to build a road that you would want to build. And so my good fortune, I had been on a trade mission with Phil Wilson, who was then the commissioner of TxDOT. And I took him to lunch and I said, look, Phil, you've got to understand, this is not just about Denton County and Denton County people needing to go someplace. This is and I use the term, the Mississippi River of central the United States. It is a transportation artery, whether you're going from Laredo or to Canada. And he quoted me several times there, and he was very helpful on helping to get this adequately funded. So I would have to, and Buzz Elson was wonderful on this. So there are people that have worked on this years and years and years, and we are happy to see the people that are here today. But when I first moved to Denton in 1968, my house was that way, and my husband's vet clinic was that way. So I have been crossing this bridge and wondering whether I would get there on time for over 40 years. So this is just a wonderful, wonderful celebration. And I thank all the people that I'm looking at that have had such a wonderful cooperation. I applaud your vision and your leadership. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Conover. I certainly don't want to overlook our staff members that sometimes that when we're fussing with each other, elected officials, our staff members they're working after bills. Wave your hand, staff members. Donna, thank you. I kind of go off script sometimes, but that's what I do. At this time, I want to recognize our State Representative Tan Parker, who has also worked tirelessly and still working for Denton County. Tan, we appreciate all you do. Keep up the good work and come give us some good news.
Well, good morning, everybody. Isn't this an incredible occasion? It's what a blessing to be here in Denton County and part of this incredible day. I want to first of all comment on the leadership of this county, of this region. At the federal level, we've of course incredible leadership from Congressman Burgess, and talk about leadership and specifically about collaboration. Because I'll tell you that there's not any other area in this great state or any other area in this country where the leadership at the local level, the county level, the state, and the federal level work so hard and work so well together. And that's the reality. And it really goes back to what Judge Mosley said earlier about the early 90s and the vision and leadership of that Commissioner's Court and the execution of the current Commissioner's Court and all the stakeholders at every level of government. At the end of the day, we can have debates in government about what is good public policy, what is the function and core role and responsibility of government. But at the end of the day, make no mistake about it, creating the infrastructure that sustains life, that sustains jobs, that sustains our economic vitality is a core function of government. The reality is, you cannot be successful in a project like this without government leadership. And so this, my friends, is a wonderful example of government at its best and the collaboration of strong and vibrant leaders for many generations. I also want to comment on specifically what this means to the citizens of the region. You know, on this entire I-35 rebuild process, the bridge, in my assessment, is the heart of this project. Over 3 years, as you all know, just in the physical construction phase of this, and what it means to families. You know, myself, having lived north of the lake, having lived south of the lake in my lifetime, I know what it means to sit in the traffic over the years. And the improvement to safety, to air quality, and to broadly the quality of life of our residents in the region is extraordinary. There's also no longer, when this bridge opens, the north part of Denton County and the south part of Denton County. It no longer exists. This bridge brings us together as one unified Denton County, connected to one unified Dallas-Fort Worth, North Texas region. So I just want to... Absolutely. We cannot say enough about the importance of teamwork, collaboration, and leadership, and how honored I am to be a part of it down in Austin with all my wonderful stakeholders that are here today. So again, congratulations to you all, but really congratulations to the citizens of Denton County, the citizens of North Texas, and frankly, the citizens of this country that travel their I-35. God bless. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, talk about going off script. I'm going to go off script for just a moment. $24.99 was mentioned, and yes, I was at the same meeting, Myron. Felt like I've been thrown to the lions. But you know, quite honestly, I've had recently a gentleman come up that was also at that meeting wearing one of those red shirts, and he said, I have to admit, Judge Horn, I was wrong. Y'all were right. He said, I use $24.99 all the time, and I'm glad you were successful. And I also need to talk a little bit about the collaboration that Tam Parker was just talking about. You know, when we went to the legislature, we actually had to have legislative authority to manage lanes on this project. But it was important for us to show that we had broad-based support. So all of the cities that are represented here, when I was harassing you or my staff was harassing you to get those resolutions passed from Denton, all points in between, Dallas, County of Dallas, City of Dallas, Lewisville, every city along the corridor, Hickory Creek, Corinth. I don't want to leave anybody out, but it was necessary to get all those resolutions to show that we had support all up and down the corridor to take to the legislature, because not everybody has that collaboration. We were able to demonstrate that we did, and we still do, And that's how you get these things done, is by working together, and I want to express appreciation for that. Another person that I want to introduce and express appreciation for this morning is Victor Vandegrift. Victor Vandegrift was appointed to the Texas Transportation Commission by Governor Rick Perry in April of 2013. He's a friend to Denton County, and we're delighted to have him with us today. Victor Vandegrift, please.
You know, it's usually my privilege as a commissioner to come to an event like this that I had very little to do with. The lifespan of a commissioner, roughly 6 years, is such that you go to a lot of groundbreakings that you had something to do with the project, but when you do the ribbon cuttings, the projects are so long, you're almost past that. And so therefore I think it's important for me, though, to revisit a little bit of history and also where I was a part of this project and how sometimes what you do and what you don't do has a significant difference. First and foremost, I know that Phil Wilson, the former executive director of TxDOT, was mentioned, and he certainly was a part of this, but I want to also acknowledge the role of Ted Houghton, Chairman Ted Houghton, but also Commissioner Houghton at the time this project was voted on. And my predecessor in this seat, which was Bill Meadows, both of them were very instrumental in working towards getting this funding done. And as I said, I'm here to celebrate somewhat their success and their efforts to make this happen. But I also want to remember, and I see my good friend Mike Niles here from the NTTA board, where I had the unique privilege of twice being engaged in this project in a much different manner. First is when Judge Horn came and asked us to really look at this project as a managed lane project at NTTA, and I basically threw a fit up on the podium and said we cannot possibly do the managed lanes coupled with our toll projects. And I was the lone vote at that point in time to say no, which then led to discussion with TxDOT. So actually by voting no on the one issue, I ended up helping move this forward to TxDOT. And the whole commission, or the whole board later at NTTA went with me on that one. But I also, at a later date, and that's why I'll always appreciate the tenacity and the leadership of Judge Horn, when it was kind of slowing down at TxDOT just a little bit, then we had to really keep the option open, and certainly discussions with her and another unsung hero, at least yet today, John Polster. They really looked at maybe NTTA needed to play a role. And so at that point, to the same good people that I just mentioned, I had to basically threaten to lead us towards we'd make an NTTA project out of this road. So by saying no and then by potentially saying yes, I think I and certainly NTTA had a part in getting this forward, and appreciative of doing that. We noted the regional transportation revenue that came in, which also from NTTA that played a part in lifting this project and moving it forward. And so the point in telling you all that is, in addition to what Representative Parker and Judge Horn talked about in collaborative, it comes in many different forms. And we're now entering a different era, and this is really where I come in. If you look back from, say, fiscal year 2006 to fiscal year 2015 or through that, about $21 billion was put into transportation infrastructure here in the Metroplex. About a third of that came from TxDOT. About a third of that came direct and indirect through RDR dollars at NTTA, and about a third of that came through public-private partnerships, most notably on LBJ and 183. And today, design build is kind of mothballed. P3 partnerships are mothballed. Toll roads, where appropriate, are mothballed. We're challenged, and we certainly can't expect the type of revenue coming from NTTA as it did for a number of years there in the middle part of this century, early century. So now the funding is being talked about, and we have $38 billion coming down, a little over that, to everybody off of Proposition 1, Proposition 7, the ending of diversions, and also additional federal money coming in. A great debt goes to Representative Crownhunter, Representative Parker, and their colleagues for making that happen. And the real question is, how does that money get spent? And we have competing interests. We have those that want to make sure that safety, maintenance, and bridges come first. Good news is you're a bridge here as well, so that makes it good. But we also have interest of the connectivity part of this state. 80% of the land with 20% of the people, and then 80% of the people and 20% of the land, which is roughly the 5 big cities of Texas. And that's really I would say it's a friendly fight, but a fight nonetheless, to make sure that the resources we have get divided up appropriately. And what can't ever be forgotten in this area are two things. One, we aggressively went forward based upon the rules that were presented to us of the day. Our toll authority aggressively went forward, leveraged itself to the hilt to make things happen. We used the tools available and got projects like this out. We have to continue to work to remind those in Austin, remind those elsewhere throughout the state, what this region does in comparison to others, and make sure that we do not get shorted in the next round of funding coming forward because of paying a penalty, if you will, for what we did in the past. This place performs, and I cannot, again, say any much greater things than said about the individuals here, but I must note again what a tenacious county judge that you have, and a terrific staff here. And last but not least, my colleagues at TxDOT, Bill Hale, Kelly Selman, and their staff here. Throughout all the craziness that sometimes happens at the state level and local level, they maintain their head and their sanity and push forward with a tremendous amount of pride and professionalism and working for you. And as they note to me all the time, they are mobility people, and that is to our great credit. We're very lucky to have them. So it's my pleasure to be serving with them. Thank you for having us here today.
Thank you, Commissioner Vandegrift. We're certainly glad you were here today. Thank you for all the work you do on behalf of Denton County, on behalf of Texas. Our next speakers are our mayors and Precinct 3 that has worked tirelessly also station projects here in Denton County. And I'm going to call all four of their names, and they can come up as I call their names. Mayor Pro Tem T.J. Gilmore from the city of Lewisville. The mayor of Lewisville, Rudy Durham, could not be here, so Mayor Pro Tem Gilmore is going to be here. We're also going to have Mayor of Holland Village, Charlotte Wilcox. Our Mayor of Hickory Creek, Lynn Clark. And our Mayor Pro Tem, acting Mayor, Andy Nolan, City of Lake Dallas.
First of all, Mayor Durham does send his regards and his thanks. So I moved here in late 2000, and we were living in Grapevine with my wife's aunt and uncle. About 6 months to find a place. Where was the best place we could go? As you all know, we ended up in Lewisville. But I want to tell you why. As I'm driving around, I worked at Midway and 635 at that time. And as I'm driving around exploring cities, looking for places where we could live, I came to the realization that no matter what, it would be south of the bridge. My realtor said, no, the bridge is being rebuilt and it will happen very soon. And we go back to the tenacity of our state leaders, of our regional leaders. This took a heavy lift. So we found our home, and one of the great things about being in Lewisville is we can get just about anywhere in 40 minutes. I can get to downtown Dallas. I can get to Fort Worth. I can get to Lake Dallas in about 40 minutes. But not any longer. Not with this bridge. This piece of infrastructure is not just an artery, it's not just a way for businesses to transport, but it is a way to bring quality of life and to unite our communities, to make us one Denton County, not a north and a south, not a left and right, but Denton County. And I'm really excited with the potential that that brings. This is an as-built structure. And I don't know all the technical details, but here's what I'll tell you. As we're going through the process with AGL, they're coming to us and saying, hey, we're doing this, do you need something? And we're able, as a city, we were able to save considerable funding by putting in new electrical and water and sewer conduits on the east and west sides. Because as you know, Lewisville is bisected by 35. It's our front porch. And when it's not doing well, we're not doing well. We're 9 exits on this road. And so what you're standing on is our northern porch. And as you drive south and enter into Lewisville, we are so excited to have you come and experience our old downtown, our new restaurants, the revitalization that's happening there. But I'm also excited that my residents can easily head north. And we can spend time in all of the cities and all the different offerings that we have in northern Denton County as well. I'd like to end this with just a quick thank you. AGL, TxDOT, Denton County, our neighbors, and most importantly, the residents and businesses who not only have helped pay for this, but they're going to enjoy the business benefits and the quality of life benefits that come from this facility. Thank you all. It wouldn't have happened without you.
Good morning. Don't worry, if I lose this first speech, I've got 3 more underneath it, so don't, everybody. Thank you for coming. I appreciate you joining us for this ceremony. I think we have all said at one time in our lives, we will never see this project completed. This ceremony today tells me that AGL constructors are working hard to prove us all wrong. I am happy to see the progress being on the expansion of I-35, and particularly this new bridge. I call it my bridge. It's the Highland Village Bridge. Here in Highland Village, I know what TJ said, and he's wrong. Here in Highland Village, we have had the opportunity to closely watch the construction of this bridge. We have partnered closely with the Corps of our engineers, TxDOT, AGL, and Denton County on the use of Coppers Branch Park as a staging area for the project. You all remember Coppers Branch Park is our event park, our community event park. Many of you remember attending the annual Lions Club Balloon Festival here, and also the Red, White, and Blue Festival. The boat docks at the park were used by many for fishing and recreational use. The families enjoyed the picnic tables and the beach area. Many walked along the shorelines. We are temporarily out of use of this park, but we will get it back. Some of them are permanently lost from the construction. Don't worry, it's not going to go away because I got more. We are grateful to and wish to thank the Corps of Engineers, TxDOT, AGL, and Denton County for mitigating the loss of our community event park. Parking under the bridge has been designed so that in future, when the park is returned to us, we will have the needed space for parking and accommodate for community events and recreational use. An entrance off of Highland Village Road will be built to provide better access to the park and safer than it previously was. So while we have lost the park for a while, we are going to end up with gaining so much more. Beyond the recreational use and parkland aspect, this bridge signifies the beginning component of gaining northbound access from Highland Village Road to I-35. Back in 2000, TxDOT was conducting a major investment study on I-35. Our city council passed a resolution requesting TxDOT provide northbound access to I-35 from Highland Village Road. At that time, and up until the I-35 Express construction project began, the only access from Highland Village Road to I-35 was a 2-way frontage road which posed safety concerns for our community. It's a book, I just keep flipping pages. The construction of this bridge and its continuation through the core property all the way to Garden Ridge Boulevard, along with elevating Highland Village Road to connect to the bridge, is the first step in providing our residents with a much anticipated northbound access. We all know that progress is impossible without change. The landscape in this area of our community has definitely changed. I recently read a quote that said, "Change is hard at first, messy in the middle, gorgeous at the end." We have all experienced the hard and messy. I'm sure there will be more of it. Now looking at this new bridge, it is gratifying to see the beginning of gorgeous. I wish to thank the Army Corps of Engineers, TxDOT, AGL, and Denton County for their continued effort to work with Highland Village. This bridge represents safer connections for our communities, improved traffic flow, and opportunities for recreational and economic growth in our area. Thank you.
Well, TJ and Charlotte, welcome to the north side of the bridge, and come on back sometime. Well, thank you. To begin to say thank you to the number of people that have had a part in this is just impossible. But to our commissioners, Judge Warren, Bobby, Hugh, Andy, and Commissioner Marchant, thank you for working tirelessly for Denton County. You know, many years ago, a famous politician coined a phrase that all politics are local. And according to Wikipedia, which is of course where we all get our information now, this demonstrates the principle that a politician's success is tied directly to his or her ability to understand and influence the issues of their constituents. Those personal issues, like traffic congestion, rather than big and intangible ideas that nobody understands, are what people care most about. You know, these days, the word politician has a very ugly connotation. But without the vision, planning, and hard work of local politicians who cared about what our citizens care about, we wouldn't be standing here. We'd be sitting in traffic until the end of time. So on behalf of the entire citizenry of Lake Dallas, Lake Corinth, Hickory Creek, Shady Shores, all of the lake cities on the north side, thank you to all the politicians and other officials who have partnered together to solve this very local traffic issue that will bring economic development to our area, that provides increased safety for all of everyone who will ever drive this interstate, and that improves the mobility and the connectivity of all our local communities. You know, a few weeks ago I was sitting in yet another traffic jam caused by construction in the corridor, and I was frustrated and I was aggravated, and I just wanted to get home. And then my mind all of a sudden began to focus in on a song that was playing on my radio. The Nitty Gritty Dirt Band was singing these lyrics. If you're ever going to see a rainbow, you've got to stand a little rain. Our local citizens have and will continue to contend with a lot of construction headaches, a lot of rain, if you will. But this milestone event today, the opening of this bridge, reminds us that we've made tremendous progress. And one of these days, we'll see the rainbow at the end. So again, my thanks to Denton County, to TxDOT, to AGL, to all our partners who have made this project a reality, and we applaud the significance of today. And let me just say, as I've heard each speaker talk about working together, I think this project and these commissioners should be held up as a model of what it really means to work together. So thank you.
On behalf of Lake Dallas, I want to thank everyone that was involved in making this project a success. As we're at the completion, I look back when I first moved here, and unlike TJ, we keep bringing you on. Unlike TJ, we moved north because it was cheaper. We were looking down, I lived in Flower Mound, we're looking Highland Village and looking at square footage there. The minute you cross the lake, it went way down. So that's actually what brought me this way, and I'm glad that it did. But it seemed like for the longest time they kept saying that, you know, they're going to expand, and it took years until it happened. We kept waiting for it to happen. Well, it finally happened. And with it came challenges that are, I'm going to go ahead and steal the title from Clint Eastwood's The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and kind of form it to go with this, change it up to go with this. But I'm going to start with the bad, not to be negative, but just being in Lake Dallas, whenever there would be the congestion, if there was a wreck on the bridge, we would be gridlocked. And I know Hickory Creek probably had the same thing, everyone trying to avoid the highway, find a shortcut to get in front. And I'm a teacher in the district, so we'd have buses late, parents couldn't get their kids to school, teachers couldn't get to work because it was just gridlocked in the town. And opening this up will just hopefully alleviate some of that if there is an accident. But we can conduct our business in Hickory Creek and in Lake Dallas on mornings that it is so crowded. Another bad is teaching a teenager to drive on I-35. To see a white-knuckled mother grabbing onto everything in the car when you go over the bumpy, uneven lanes, and every day knowing when she goes to work at Chuck E. Cheese in Lewisville, praying on a rainy night that she gets back safely with all of the lane changes. You can't see that line. So that was definitely the bad part. and just suffering through the traffic and wrecks in general with a road that wasn't equipped to handle as much traffic as we were starting to get as we're getting more developed north of the lake. It's hard to read with my hair in my face. And the worst thing was losing Texas land and cattle. I love that steakhouse. But the good, being entertained by barrel animals, gorillas and sharks, and that was kind of fun. The good was watching the progress step by step, watching how they poured the pillars every time a new beam would come across. It was interesting for kids and families to see, and just as an adult to see it happen piece by piece by piece. And then also knowing that some of our traffic problems were going to be alleviated, and it would start opening it up to make it a more comfortable drive, I guess, to say the least, when you're coming this way. But I can't use the ugly with this one, because nothing about this bridge is ugly, so I'm going to change it up a little and say opportunity. The improved access brings people, it encourages them to come across the bridge when maybe they weren't before. They didn't want to mess with it. The traffic is too bad. And being in Lake Dallas, right off the highway, it gives people a chance to maybe come see our town, and with all the new growth that we're going to start having and redevelopment, and have lake access. So it opens it up for us economically, as well as getting our kids to school in a more timely manner. As my parents always told me, nothing good comes easy, and this hasn't been easy, but it has been good. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you being here today. Well, now it's my pleasure to introduce TxDOT Chief Engineer Bill Hale and Dallas District Engineer Kelly Salesman. Bill Hale served as the Dallas District Engineer from 2003 to 2014 and was a strong advocate for Denton County projects. Kelly Salesman has big shoes to fill, and he's doing a great job. Gentlemen.
Bill never stays on script. Drives our PIO people crazy. It's great to be here today for the opening of the bridge, and I'd first like to recognize our TxDOT team on the project. David Lavelle, Liz Medding, and Jerome Waters. I don't know if Jerome's here, but David and Liz are in the back there. Doing a great job. This project is an example of how the department fulfills our mission through collaboration and leadership to deliver safe, reliable, and integrated transportation systems that enable the movement of people and goods. The 35Express project extends almost 30 miles through 9 cities and 2 counties, from US 380 in Denton County to 635 in Dallas County. Ranked number 18 on the list of the most congested roadways in the state, the entire North Texas corridor is being reconstructed in 2 phases. This is phase 1, with an estimated total cost of $4.8 billion. The project includes additional general purpose lanes, managed toll lanes, improved bridges and frontage roads, and massive new southbound bridge across Lake Lewisville that we're sitting on today. The TxPress managed lanes down the middle of the interstate will give motorists another option when traveling during peak times. These reversible lanes will feature dynamic pricing, with the cost varying depending on the time of day and the congestion level, with the goal of saving drivers time and providing increased reliability in the corridor. Thanks to cooperation with our great partners at Denton County, we worked with TxDOT to identify the necessary funding. The milestone has become a reality, and it marks a day long awaited. Denton County alone has committed approximately $819 million to this project from the regional toll revenue funds to make phase 1 of this project a reality. Positioning TxDOT to remain globally competitive requires partnerships with businesses, communities, city and county governments, metropolitan planning organizations, regional toll authorities, and most importantly, the public. We're making excellent progress. Projects like the 35Express project would have taken years, even decades, to get started. We're now moving forward. Texans have called up us to a higher level, expecting more from us. With our partners in the region, we're delivering. Thank you for your support of TxDOT and being such dedicated partners. Thank you very much.
Well, I'll be brief, and but I do want to share a couple of memories and some of the things I have here with the department. In 2003, I got here. We looked up. We had a challenge. 35E was needing to be fixed. We had around the whole state. We had projects needing to be fixed. And there was one county that rolled their sleeves up and were making efforts to try to put together a plan. Everybody needs a plan. Policymakers will demand a plan and put together a plan that you follow. And I don't fall in love with your plan because it changes. So as time went by, and you heard Judge Mosley talk about how they put together the plan to have a system here to take care of this, because the main thing was the bridge here, getting this bridge taken care of to keep lifeblood to this area. But it involved a system of opportunities throughout this area. You heard the people talk about the system that was put together. And all along the way, starting back in 2000, whenever we had no money, we were working on trying to get transportation projects together, Denton County and the local, the regional, the state, and the federal policymakers became statesmen and worked on keeping a project moving. And at the center of the whole thing was the 35E bridge, and everything that occurred, you'll hear a statement that the sailboat kept drifting away, it kept getting more expensive. How do you build a 28-mile project, and the money goes from $600 million to $800 million to $1.4 billion to $4.8 billion. So the entire project would cost $4.8 billion, and all along the way, the city and the county took bonds out. They worked to get projects set up. They brought money to the table and said, we're going to try to get this done, and they kept focused. And with that, they put together a plan, and always pushing the local, the federal, the state, elected officials to work with us to get this done, and we're bringing stuff to the table. And they did, and you see the results. If the Milestone was getting this project done, but to get this done, they did several things. The tools we were provided. I don't know if y'all remember House Bill 3588, that's the mother of all bills, that provided tools for us to use. No money but tools. They had the ability to toll. We had NTTA. In 1997, came up here working their operation together. DCTA, having the ability to get the UNT out there. And a recognition in this area to make that happen. When they did that, they kept it on the forefront. And we had several bills that were taken care of as a result of Denton County and the way that was handled up here. And we moved forward, kept trying to provide dollars to fix it. And there became a point, I don't know if you remember 2009, when we had a special session. And during that special session, it became very obvious with the tools we had, because the city, the county had actually had SIB loans taken out with local officials. They were defeased with the ability to take a road that was already built and make it a toll road. They decided to do that. Then they went further and they said, we'd like to pioneer sharing some revenue off that to help maybe build the main thing, 35. They worked to get the main thing taken care of. They end up using a concession model to get dollars to have revenue sharing, to have the revenue as part of their operations, including bond money that went with it to help bring it to the table. They kept working, and all along the way, using managed lanes and working through it. Then we went through special session. We had environmental clearances that had to be taken care of. The county was instrumental in us getting the ability to do environmental assessments with TxDOT versus the federal government. And that became huge because we were able to get across the goal line. It's always 2 to 3 years out. We got it cleared. We then had the ability to get the stakeholders to use the tolls. The 1420 committees in 2012 was the main reason it came from this area up here, to have the stakeholders determine what they need to do. And all along the way, the local, the federal, the regional, and the state people binding together to make sure that they took care of their constituents, because there was a choke point here that was causing it was growing like weed up here in Denton County. So with that, in 2012, we were able to get the project across the goal line. We even looked at the point of going out here and saying, okay, $4.8 billion, we can't build the whole thing. What about building part of it now and getting the revenue and allowing us to go ahead and get the managed lanes up, get the widening of the bridge, and then move forward, and then later on with what we have right here, be able to take it and maybe use private money to help it, but using all the tools you have available. This is being mimicked around the state. You will see today there's an opportunity. People in Austin are looking at the plans that are being done up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area to figure out how they get
they take $4 billion and turn it into $20 billion, and one of them is this big project, which is the keystone of what we've done. With that, we have turned a system here that's being mimicked around the state and trying to be mimicked around the state. And the big key to all of it is your policymakers and the staff providing information that the policymakers can make decisions off of, and then build what they need to based on what the information they have. And that piece of information, you heard Judge Mosley, you're saying Judge Horn, keep it all together. You keep all the local, federal, state officials on task. This is what we're trying to do. And you see that we're getting this thing taken care of. You'll see around the state we're trying to get the opportunity to leverage and be able to build our opportunities as long as the locals and the federals work together to get taken care of. And this has been huge with it. So with that, you should know that we got this whole thing going, but this is only $1.4 billion project. We actually got a $4.8 billion, $3.4 billion more coming, and I think there's an expectation that's to be done, and I wouldn't hold, if anybody can get it done, it's this region, about getting the rest of this done in the future. So you need to celebrate this milestone. You won't have to drive forever, but you did figure out a way to drive around. And if you did have an accident, now you'll be able to use your frontage roads that go through here. But the bigger thing is that you've been able to address your needs, work together, and your policymakers are statesmen. And I appreciate what they do, because it is being looked around the state about how we did what we did up here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and that's this whole region. And you're to be congratulated. So with that, I'll let y'all have the rest of this. Thank you.
You know, there's some things that stick out in my mind about this project over the years. One of them was the environmental clearance process, which delayed us. Delays cost money. So we were not too happy about the added time. I understand why they do environmental clearances, but at the same time, the question was they were very concerned about the people that were being displaced because of the expansion. You know, what are those poor people going to do? Well, what they're saying is, hurry up, hurry up. They are waiting for us to take that property so that they can relocate and go on with their lives and go on with their businesses. The other thing that stuck out of my mind is I was looking through this environmental clearance package that came back to us, which was a very long stack of paper. And one thing that I noticed is, do you know that they found copperheads on the east side of the bridge at Hickory Creek? They must not have looked on the west side. Could have told them that, couldn't we? Exactly. Well, I want to take just a moment and express sincere appreciation to AGL. AGL has done a great job with this mammoth project and their efforts to keep traffic moving, all the while continuing to build on this new roadway and this new bridge. I want to introduce Mark Smith with AGL. Come on up.
Thank you, Judge Horn. Get this up here a little bit. And thank you all for letting me speak here today and joining us for this celebration. As the contractor for the Texas Department of Transportation, we've been appreciative of the level of partnership we've received not only from them, but from the cities, the counties, and the organizations that touch and support this project. And of course, the patience of the traveling public that drive through this project as we work every day. Without this support, delivery of this project would have been nearly impossible. As many of you know, the construction of this bridge has seen a dramatic water level change from beginning to end, from drought to floods and fluctuations of in between. It's challenges like that that our AGL team is proud to overcome. An AGL team led by Cyrus Morrow and Nick Stedman and many others. A team that worked more than 900,000 man hours during the construction of this bridge. A team that sank more than 270 drill shafts, followed by caps, or columns and caps, eventually setting nearly 900 concrete beams that you spoke of earlier. And then topping it off with 1.2 million square foot of bridge deck that we're celebrating on today. In addition, to our regular concrete and rebar work that we're so used to. We're also very proud to be a part of the improvements of the surrounding parks in the area, the 4 parks on all the corners. These parks will add quality and life to the residents and the visitors that come to this area. As we gather to enjoy the accomplishments that have gone into this milestone, we have not lost sight that there's much work left to do, and to fulfill the promise posted on the southbound billboard in Carrollton that reads, "Someday you're gonna love 35." So with this in mind, we continue our efforts towards the completion in 2017 of the total expanded highway for the citizens. Also, I was told that people are wondering when we're going to open this up. We're going to give you a little bit more than 30 minutes to get out of here today before we roll traffic and open this up on Friday night into Saturday morning. Again, we'd like to thank you all for the support that you've given us throughout this process. Thank you.
Talk about good news. That's good news. At this time, our own Congressman Burgess could not be with us. Someone who's worked also with Denton County, loves Denton County from the time he hit the ground in Washington. He's been working on getting this bridge taken care of, and we certainly appreciate him. But he's in Washington fighting again for Denton County and for our federal government. At this time, we have with us Eric With is going to read a letter from Congress. You don't have a letter? Okay. Stand up and wave your hand. Do you have any comments?
I know nobody wants to hear this, but this is a huge project for Congressman Burgess.
I told Lisa when she asked, I said, you know what, everybody just wants to get out of here, so I'll be appreciative of that. I will say thank you for all the work, hard work that's gone into this. If Dr. Burgess was here, I can't tell you exactly what he'd say, but I will tell you what he says every time we go up I-35. I've actually started avoiding it, not because of the construction, but because he understands how critical this project is to the growth of Denton County. He asks every time we go by the old building in Lewisville, I thought that was coming down so that they could widen this road. And I have to explain to them again that this is a 2-phase project. He's mindful of that and is continuing to work up in D.C. He's pleased that D.C. was finally able to get some federal funding that's established and is stable, that the state can work with, and local leaders can work with. And he's very appreciative of the continued effort of everybody across the board on keeping this project moving forward. Thank you for all your effort.
Thank you, Eric. Representative Simmons could not be here also, but his district manager, Ebony Wilson, is here. Do you have any words, or you just want to say hi? Representative Simmons is out of state at this time.
Okay, I have a sign-in sheet. We've recognized an awful lot of people, but I don't want to miss somebody. First one I want to make sure that we recognize is Diane Helms is here representing the Senator Estes office. Good morning, Diane. Thank you for being here. Okay, we've introduced quite a few. We've got City Secretary of Lake Dallas, Johnny Vaughn. We did the Hickory Creek Mayor, then Clark, Charlotte Wilcox, Mayor City of Highland Village, TJ Gilmore, Mayor Pro Tem City of Lewisville, Mayor Shady Shores. There she is. Okay, Cindy, thank you so much for being here. We're also from Shady Shores. We have Matthew Haynes, Tony Newell, Andy Eads. Well, you signed in. He was introduced. Let's see. Neil Ferguson, Bill Hardiman, Mayor of Corinth. Did I forget any? Are there any elected officials here that haven't been introduced? We appreciate y'all being here today. Thank you very much. Now, in conclusion, we want to invite everyone in attendance to proceed to the ribbon cutting site for photo opportunities, and everybody in attendance is invited to participate in that. We have scissors for all the speakers that need to be in the front line for the photo, and with that, let's go cut the ribbon and open this bridge. Thank you very much for being here.